Now with breaking news. This is Boston 25 News at 6.
Now at 6, updating breaking news out of Mattapan. Boston police are investigating a crash at a Mattapan cemetery. Boston 25 News has been at the scene since the crash happened this afternoon. Good evening. I'm Vanessa Welch.
And I'm Mark Ockerblin. Boston 25 News reporter Ted Daniel is live in Mattapan tonight at the scene. And Ted, they just reopened the road there.
Yes, Mark and Vanessa, but the traffic lights are still flashing here at the intersection of Walk Hill and Harvard. That's because the SUV involved in this crash took out the control panel for the lights before it barreled down here into the cemetery. It must have been a wild ride. The vehicle went through a large chain link fence and took out at least 2 large headstones before it came to rest near a tree. Boston police tell us one person was transported to the hospital, but at last check, BPD was unable to provide the person's condition or any circumstances surrounding the crash. Officers spent hours here investigating. We saw them taking measurements and poking around down there, but they left around 4 o'clock this afternoon when that vehicle was put on a flatbed and towed from the scene. That's the latest. Reporting live in Mattapan, I'm Ted Daniel, Boston 25 News.
Alarming and threatening letters sent to the owner of a New Hampshire farm.
Tonight, the FBI is investigating. The man owns a farm in Hollis, New Hampshire, and says his animals and his property were targeted. Boston 25 News reporter Natalie Rubino joins us live from Hollis tonight to explain why the FBI is taking this so seriously. Natalie?
Vanessa, this has been happening for years. The farmhouse has found animals dead on property, other animals seriously injured. A barn was burnt down earlier this year, but right now the FBI is focused on the extortion letters. They're written in rhymes. I saw your flag on your lawn, and time almost gone. I know you're in. Just pay me now, and you will win. Now the FBI is hoping the unnerving letters will help them find who's behind the string of crimes.
In addition to the letters, which were seeking $250,000 of payout money, there was a barn that burned down.
The ranch runs a program for children and teens, but for years the owners have been living in fear with extortion threats and suspicious activity happening on their property.
The letters were in the last couple of years, and they came in at different times, but the threats started prior to that. This case goes back well before our involvement.
Photos show destroyed pickup trucks burnt after a suspicious fire started in the barn in January of this year. The FBI says several farm animals have been killed or, like these 2 dogs, seriously injured. Investigators say they don't know who could be behind the threats.
We're trying to generate new leads and new intelligence, and we want to talk to the public.
I did some digging and uncovered that in 2015, the owner of Rickety Ranch was charged after 2 children were critically injured in an improperly secured bouncy house that he owned. The FBI wouldn't comment on that incident. Meanwhile, neighbors like Dave Dwyer say they're worried about their safety.
I mean, obviously it's scary to think about. Yeah, if something's going on around here, you know, you want to make sure you lock your doors at night. You know, it's pretty terrifying.
I did speak to the owner earlier today over the phone. He did not want to comment. The FBI's reward in this case is $10,000. Live in Hollis, Natalie Rubino, Boston 25 News.
Former teacher is facing more charges this afternoon, accused of inappropriate contact with another student. We reported earlier this year that the former teacher at Cohasset Middle School was placed on leave after he was charged with inappropriately touching a female student. Now Jeffrey Knight will face a judge on 5 more charges tomorrow. Knight pled not guilty in August to touching a female minor in his class. Police say the allegations spanned 2 school years. Knight taught STEM classes at the Cohasset Middle High School. This afternoon, the superintendent released a new statement saying Knight resigned since being put on leave over the summer. She says resources are available to any member of the school community with questions or concerns.
The first week of legal marijuana sales in Massachusetts brought in a lot of money. From Tuesday through Sunday, Cultivate in Leicester and New England Treatment Access in Northampton had combined sales totaling more than $2.2 million. Together, the shop sold more than 56,000 products. You see from the daily breakdown here, the busiest days for sales were Friday and Saturday, not the first 2 days of business. For the first week alone, the state will collect about $377,000 in taxes from these sales. And the numbers are staggering. staggering. In 2014, first week recreational marijuana sales in Colorado exceeded $5 million, but the state had 36 dispensaries open.
New tonight, the mayor of Somerville will be out of the public eye over the holidays. Mayor Joseph Curtatone has been diagnosed with a severe case of the shingles virus. His office says he was recently hospitalized. Nerves in the mayor's face and inner ear have been affected. The inner ear controls balance. Curtatone remains in touch with his staff and should be able to start working from home in the coming days.
Turning now to the weather, a live look at the expressway. The heavy rain is cleared out for a drive home tonight, and it looks pretty good out there. Traffic moving along. Boston 25 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lemanowitz here now. And Kevin, looks like we're going to get a break from the rain finally.
Yeah, for a few days anyway. There's certainly more in the forecast. That pattern is not totally breaking, but the only rain showers left out there tonight aren't affecting anybody's commute. They're mostly over the water. We've had a couple around the Vineyard and Nantucket. Very light showers, not an issue. Now, the commute on I-91 heading up here north of Amherst through Sunderland into Greenfield had some light snow falling, and there's steadier and somewhat heavier snow falling here in the Berkshires and into New York State. And it's this area where a winter weather advisory is in place until 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It's going to snow tonight and into tomorrow, not heavily all the time, but it's all because of the winds coming in from the west, going up the hills, squeezing out anything that's in those clouds, and because it's cold enough, it would be snow. And then when it comes down off the hills, it dries out into the valley, so you don't get that snow along I-91, although there can be a few flurries and showers, as you're seeing on I-91 right now, and really into central Mass tomorrow. Temperatures are coldest in the elevations. Worcester's 34, but winds are blowing 15 miles per hour consistently, gusting over 20 miles per hour, making it feel even colder. It feels like the 20s out in Worcester out there right now. We'll talk about that next storm on the way, but enjoy the break for now. I'm back in a few minutes.
All right, Kevin, we'll take it. Meanwhile, slippery roads in Cornish, New Hampshire caused a driver to crash. Take a look at this picture shared from the Cornish Police Department. This is from Route 12A. No one was hurt in this crash, but police warned people to stay off the roads. This morning wasn't just a mess for drivers. Tonight, engineers for the MBTA are inspecting trains after hundreds of passengers were stranded in the middle of the commute. Passengers say a wheel fell off a commuter rail train as it neared Waltham. Keolis officials say a conductor and a passenger both pulled the brake. 800 passengers sat and waited 2 hours for a rescue train to arrive. Boston 25 News spoke with a man who was inside a car when it began shaking violently.
There's one bathroom on the train, and it stopped flushing for some reason, and people kept using it because they were sitting on the train for a couple hours. And at one point, there was a pregnant woman trying to use the bathroom. She was unable to because you couldn't use it. There was no way of using it.
Coming up at 6:30, why some passengers fear this could be a sign of future problems on their daily ride. Boston 25 News alerted you to the commuter chaos at 8:30 this morning, right after that train lost the wheel. To get push notifications on breaking news, head to the App Store on your phone. Our Boston 25 News app is a free download. A center near Boston's notorious methadone mile designed to get drug abusers off the streets and into vital services is currently closed.
25 investigators uncovered a slew of concerns at the city's new engagement center, including attempts to sell illegal drugs inside it. Boston 25 News anchor Carrie Kavanaugh joins us live with the reason for the temporary shutdown. Carrie?
Well, we got a tip about this today, and we went to check it out for ourselves, and we found the engagement center is in fact closed. The city tells us it closed the center back on November 12th for renovations, namely to make it ready for the winter. So today it's locked up and closed off. The city's Public Health Commission says the large tent known as the Engagement Center is undergoing renovations to make clients, quote, more comfortable. The city opened the large tent next to the Southampton Street Men's Shelter in August 2017 to clean up Boston's methadone mile and give people access to housing assistance and addiction recovery programs. 25 Investigates first raised concerns about the center last month. Our undercover camera spotted one woman slumped over inside and not getting any help, and a man followed our team into the center trying to sell them drugs. The city spent $1.5 million to operate the center during its first year. As for the cost of these renovations, which include structural improvements to floors, walls, electrical, and plumbing, the city said it will spend about an additional $40,000 to make them happen. Meanwhile, Mayor Walsh told us the temporary facility was a success, so the city's making it permanent.
We're trying to create a space to get people literally off of the street, off of the sidewalks, off of the curbs. While they're in there, we're trying to see if we can help certain people that are willing to get into recovery, but it's keeping some of the chaos off the street.
It's basically an air-conditioned warehouse as far as I'm concerned.
We're told clients were notified in advance about the renovations. The Public Health Commission says final inspections of them are underway, and they hope to reopen the center by December 3rd. For 25 Investigates, I'm Carrie Kavanaugh.
A suspect in the killings of a West Brookfield mother and her 3 children will return to court to face murder charges next month. Prosecutors say Matthew Locke will be arraigned in Worcester Superior Court on December 21st. He was indicted on murder charges last week. Locke is charged with killing Sarah Bermudez and her 3 children in March. Their bodies were found in their home. Locke is related to the husband of Sarah Bermudez. Salisbury police have released new photos of a suspect, wanted in connection with a string of car break-ins. Items were stolen this past weekend from several vehicles on True and Lafayette roads. They are asking anyone who recognizes this person to give them a call.
In Hull, police have charged a man with causing thousands of dollars in damage during a vandalism spree. Investigators say Michael Haskins turned himself into police last night. He's accused of smashing the windows and doors of 5 local businesses. He's also charged with damaging 7 vehicles. A surveillance camera from one business captured a blurry image of the suspect. Police say they found bloody clothes consistent with those worn by the suspect at Haskins' home. Health officials are working to determine what made a Foxborough student so sick. On Monday, school officials were concerned that a student at Foxborough Regional Charter School might have meningitis. Today, health officials said preliminary tests were negative for bacterial meningitis. They say they're continuing to monitor the student, but no other precautions are needed at the school.
Right now, police are investigating a serious crash during the morning commute. First responders in Duxbury were called out to Franklin Street near Route 53 this morning. 2 people were taken to the South Shore Hospital. The area was closed off for more than an hour as crews cleared the scene. Fire at a local donut shop. Stoneham Fire tells us they put out the flames at the Honeydew Donuts on Main Street this morning. They say the vent from a ceiling fan caught fire and fell to the ground. Firefighters were on scene in less than a minute, and no one was hurt.
A war of words.
Yeah, Boston's top cop is firing back at the ACLU over a lawsuit.
Can you walk a mile in our shoes? Can you walk a couple of steps?
Coming up, the new steps in the works for both sides to come together.
Most of the rain showers are gone after the heavy rain we had, but look, there's still some snow flying out there we need to talk about, and the next storm that's on the way.
The rules and regulations surrounding recreational pot, there are plenty of them. Coming up, we'll take a look at the state's latest efforts to try to educate parents and kids and if it's effective.